What's up guys, Mixed by Jocelyn here, back with another video of Mixed Up, and today is part 6 of our mixing from start to finish. Let's get cracking. Boom. Okay guys, so as I said before, this is part 6 of our series of mixing from start to finish. If you are like just locking in now, maybe click off this video and watch part 1 all the way through, because it is kind of important. We're like mixing in a certain timeline and going through everything in a certain order and showing you guys how you guys should be approaching your mixing and like what we're doing. And today is the first day on the vocals, and today we're going to be covering mostly like how I approach my vocals in terms of like tidying them up and sort of like cleaning them and getting them ready to be mixed. And then in the next video we're going to be going into more mixing the vocals. So the first thing we're going to want to do is pick a vocal that we're going to start with. For this, I'm going to start with Notes' verse. I'm basically going to solo vocal bass, because really we don't need to listen to the music anymore. Like, we're just homing into the vocals. We're trying to get them in the best place possible to then like obviously balance in. So at this point I sort of treat my vocals in 2 different ways. It's like correction stuff, like EQing in terms of like making sure I'm getting rid of all the bad stuff and just the good stuff is in there. And then like later on it will be like EQing in terms of like boosting, adding more character, life to it. Same goes with compression. First stage compression, I'm sort of like smoothing everything out, and the next stage is more like maybe an aggressive character building type of compression. But the first thing we do is we pull up the vocals so we can hear them.
Oh, keep going non-stop. Might take a lunch break, but I'm on job. Legends don't go.
So yeah, apologizing to Notes, because you know this is his raw vocal, but yeah, I appreciate you letting us use it. But the first thing we want to do is basically tidy it up, and as Harry will tell you, this is what he does for me. I don't actually do a lot of this anymore. Harry sort of takes care of a lot of this stuff, but it's like de-breathing and getting rid of any of the noise. So I'll show you in a quick example. So we'll play through.
Yo, keep going non-stop. Might take a lunch break, but I'm on job. Legends don't go nowhere, Steve Jobs. As long as I phone you, then it's all love. Wanna take.
So there you go, we have a breath there. Stuff like that most of the time I don't want in the mix at all. Sometimes you listen back and you might be later on in the mix and you might be like, oh, actually the breath would sound good there, I'll just put it back in. But for most part I don't want it in. So I set up my bars like this. I have the pointer as my left click, I have cut as my right click, and then I set fade tool as my like command click tool. So then I can quickly cut and then hit command, fade that in. Quick one, if the top of your Logic isn't set like this, really easy. All you do is you come like, so if it's only got 2, sorry. If you want 3, you just go to settings, general, editing, and then right button, you can just go assign to a tool, and then it will give you that 3 option at the top there. It makes it very quick for editing vocals like this. So we're just gonna go through and get rid of all the breaths. Harry will speed this up for you guys. Okay, nice. So there is all of the breaths cut out of all the phrases that I don't want, and they've been faded in and out, so there's no like noticeable clicks or anything like that. When you're doing your mixes, obviously you want to do that for all of the vocals, and we probably would do them all at the same time, but for the sake of this video we're just going to do one section, a little bit of like, oh, here's one I made earlier. Once we've done that, then we're going to look at some EQ. So I'm listening to the vocal and I'm like, okay, what does it sound like to me? Like, how well has it been recorded? Is there boominess? Is it too sharp? Is there a lot of sibilants? Things like that. In my head, I'm like, I'm taking away, if you see what I'm saying. So we're going to use a Pro Q3. Now, if you don't have a Pro Q3, and not saying you can't not use a Pro Q3 and there aren't other plugins there, but if you're trying to take mixing seriously, the Pro Q3 is a serious tool and it really does help. What we're going to want to do first is, just like we've done for all the rest of the mix,
keep going,
is top and tail. So we're going to go low cut, and I'm going to change this to like a 48, so it's a lot more of a sharper curve, and I'm going to pull this in all the way probably to about 100 hertz, I would say.
Oh, keep going non-stop. Might take a lunch break, but I'm on job. Legends don't go nowhere, Steve Jobs. As long as I phone you.
I don't want to take away necessarily anything. Obviously that might need to lower that because there's a lot of body in that vocal.
Oh, keep going non-stop. Might take a lunch break.
And then what I do is I hold down my left click until this goes blue.
Non-stop. Might
and
take
now,
a lunch break, but I'm on job.
I can
Legends
see
don't
all
go
the
nowhere,
peaks
Steve Jobs.
starting to
As long as
appear.
I phone you, then it's all love. Wanna take the.
So right there, that S, it's all love, that poked up. This was the cue. that stuck out for that. That's probably too sharp. So we can just pull that down and we know exactly where that is and we can EQ. Some of the boominess is probably coming from around here. And then there's going to be another bit. So I'm going to click off and just do like a wider cut here in general, just because in general, to me, it sounds boomy. You know, it's like there's one thing using your analyzers, using your EQs, but then you sometimes lose track of your own ears and like what you're hearing.
Oh, keep going, non-stop. Might take a lunch break, but I'm on job. Legends don't go nowhere, Steve Jobs. As long as I phone you, then it's all love.
And then with that S1 here, I'm going to make this dynamic just so it really pops and pushes down when it needs to. And then I can actually lower the Q and then it will only react when it's like past the point that I think it needs to react at.
Oh, keep going, non-stop. Might take a lunch break, but I'm on job.
You see there, it's only reacting when it's like really sharp.
Oh, keep going, non-stop. Might take a lunch break, but I'm on job. Legends don't go nowhere, Steve Jobs. As long as I phone you, then it's all love. Wanna take the whole wide world by storm. Oh,
okay, cool. So
keep going, non-stop. Might take a lunch break, but I'm on job. Legends don't go nowhere, Steve Jobs. As long as I phone you, then it's all love. Wanna take the whole wide world by storm.
So I'm gonna lower that down as well.
Oh, keep going, non-stop. Might take a lunch break, but I'm on job. Legends don't go nowhere, Steve Jobs. As long as I phone you, then it's all love. Wanna take the whole wide world by storm.
And we're just listening to see if there's any other things that poke out. Right now, it's sounding fairly decent, fairly flat. Like you'll see people that just lower all the things that poke out that might not necessarily needed to do. Like have faith in your ears, listen to them, and you know, make your own judgments basically. And then from there, basically what I like to do there is I like to back up my de-essing. So now I know roughly where the S's are. So between this 6.5 and like 9K almost, that's where the de-essing in Notes' vocal is happening. So we can like go and pull this back to like 6K around there and then pull this forward a little bit. I'll keep it around 10K. Now we know that's the pocket. This is the area on the de-esser that is going to be affected. So everything else around this is going to be left alone. And then we can just set our threshold.
Non-stop. Might take a lunch break, but I'm on job. Legends don't go nowhere, Steve Jobs. As long as I phone you, then it's all love. Wanna take the whole wide world by storm. Boat past haters in a lamb truck. Go ghost on my ex and a phantom. Move on to the next breast and bum.
And maybe lower the range
no
a little
need to
bit,
get that done. Gotta do everything until I've won. Then start all again like I've just begun.
Because another thing that I hear a lot in amateur mixing is that they're over de-essing and then they're actually bringing more attention to the DS from doing that. The next thing we're going to look at is I'm going to use some multi-band compression. Now here, I'm just trying to bring a bit of balance to the sonics of the vocal. So I like to have like a really tight, controlled low end to the vocal.
Keep going, non-stop.
So I'll put
Might take
AQ
a lunch
here,
break,
go all the way up to like 500,
Legends don't go nowhere,
maybe a bit
Steve
more.
Jobs. As long as I phone you,
Really fast tack, quite fast release. So it's going to be quite pumpy.
Boat past haters in a lamb truck.
And you can hear already
my ex and a phantom.
how much more controlled the low end is.
Next breast and bum. Natural, no need to get that done. Gotta do everything until I've
You know what I'm saying?
Then start all again.
So it's much more controlled now rather than sounding like boomy and messy. And then in the mid band, again, just a little bit of compression. I'll lower the attack and release because I like it to be quite a smooth, rounded compression, not so tight, not so aggressive, and I can then boost it a little bit. I tend to do.
Keep going, non-stop. Might take a lunch break,
just to bring a little bit more clarity to it.
Legends don't go nowhere, Steve Jobs. As long as I
from around that 6K mark, from where the de-essing is, that's where I'm going to add another Q all the way to the end. This is going to be very quick as well. And we're going to
keep going, non-stop.
Pull the threshold down.
Might take a lunch break, but I'm on job.
And then I'm going to pull the range down.
Nowhere, Steve Jobs. As long as
boost it so we can get a little bit of high end out of it as well.
Take the whole wide world by storm. Boat past haters in a lamb truck. Go ghost on my ex and a phantom. Move on to the next breast and bum. Natural, no need to get that done. Gotta
so now to me,
until I've won.
That sounds like a nice rounded vocal and how I would expect a vocal to be at like a professional level, and I've achieved it with just a small bit of EQ, a bit of multi-band and a little bit of de-essing, and you know, we're now in a much better place. Now I would start thinking, okay, cool, we're going to add some character and some life to the vocal, and you know how it then starts blending it in with the mix. So right now it's going to sound quite dull. It's not going to be very exciting to listen in the mix.
Keep going, non-stop. Might take a lunch break, but I'm on job. Legends don't go nowhere.
But what we have is a very controlled vocal that is in a brilliant place to then be mixed and add character to in the right way. And because we've controlled all of those, not necessarily bad elements, but elements that we don't want in the vocal, when we then boost and bring out all the good stuff, we're not going to be bringing up all of that bad stuff as well, like the breaths, the S's, things like that. The low end's going to be tight, and we can bring real life to the record now. So that's what we're going to be covering today, as I really like to make sure that the vocals are detailed and you guys understand that, like how simple that is. Just those 3 tools. Obviously we can look at other things as well when it comes to tidying up the vocals, but I believe less is more. You're going to see that a lot. So the next thing we're going to be looking at is the auto tune, and then adding some compression, a bit more life via an analog style EQ, saturation, stuff like that in the next lesson next week. Again, I'm sorry guys, it has been a few weeks since I last uploaded. I was off for my birthday and dealing with personal stuff. I really appreciate your patience with it, because I've had a few people like going, well, where's part 6? But it's here now. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. And if you are not subscribed yet, please make sure you subscribe, because we are going to be back to releasing these videos weekly. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Safe.